My name is Racha Mourtada. I'm a research associate with the Dubai School of Government, which is a academic research institution focused on public policy in the Arab region. And I specifically work on the Governance and Innovation Program, which focuses on the policy implications of using information and communication technology for social and governmental transformation. And we've had a lot of focus on social media the past year. Well, the aim of the Arab Social Media Report basically is to kind of take a look at the trends and usage of social media in the Arab world with a view to sort of looking at what the implications of that are for civic engagement, for social inclusion, for things like entrepreneurship and innovation in the region. And we do that basically by looking at the penetration trends of Facebook and Twitter usage. We also look at different breakdowns in terms of age, gender, language. We also look at the factors that contribute to the uptake of social media use, such as internet freedom, digital access, income, and the growth of the youth population. And we actually started doing all of this in the first quarter of last year. Initially, there was a focus on just trends and usage in general. In the first issue. In the second issue, we sort of took a look at the role that social media played in the revolutions of the time. And for the upcoming issue, we're taking a look at gender and the use of social media. Well, our focus is mainly on Facebook and Twitter, so I can speak about that a little bit. If we look at just sheer numbers, Egypt and Saudi Arabia have both the largest number of users in Facebook and on Twitter. But if we were going to look towards penetration or the number of Facebook users in terms of the percentage of the population, Egypt and Saudi Arabia are the countries that have the largest number of Facebook users and also of Twitter users. However, if we were to look at penetration, the GCC tends to dominate in terms of Twitter penetration, whereas for Facebook it's more of a mixed bag with a couple of GCC countries as well as Lebanon, Jordan, and Tunisia. Yes, that's pretty much it. Well, actually, the Arab Spring has had quite an impact on Facebook usage and on Twitter usage. So, for example, if we were to take a look at the first quarter of this year, during the time when the revolutions were at their height, Facebook usage has actually increased or has grown by 30%. Compared to the first 3 months of last year, it only grew by 18%. So that's quite a large difference right there. And if we were to look at the countries that actually went through revolutions, such as Bahrain and Egypt and Tunisia, we see that in these countries, actually the growth rate at the time of the revolutions is actually double or triple that compared to the same region or the same time the year before. So we can definitely see at least a quantitative growth, but also qualitatively, when you look at Twitter trends, for example, the top trends during the time of the revolutions all had to do with what was going on. So the top hashtags were Bahrain, Egypt, Libya, protest. So that kind of indicates that the Arab Spring also affected the kind of online conversation in the region. There are definitely some differences in the three regions. So if we were to look at, for example, from an age kind of breakdown, we noticed that the GCC countries on the whole have a sort of a balance between younger users between 15 and 29 and adults over 30. Whereas, for example, in Levant and North Africa, they have more of a gender balance, which doesn't really show up in the GCC. So in the Levant and North Africa, for most of the countries, you can see that men and women, the number of male and female users are quite close in that sense. And language is probably the most kind of distinctive difference between these three regions. So not surprisingly, in North Africa, with the exception of Egypt, they prefer to use French on Facebook, whereas Egypt prefer to use sort of a 50-50 split between Arabic and English. When it comes to English, Lebanon and all the GCC countries, except for Saudi Arabia, prefer to use English, whereas Saudi Arabia kind of logically prefer to use Arabic. Well, I think basically what we can take away from this report and the previous ones too is that Facebook and Twitter are still exponentially growing at this rate. I mean, from the beginning of the year till now, Facebook at least has grown by 60%. And also we've noticed, and this is a continuing trend, that youth are the main driving force behind the growth of Facebook and Twitter. So about 70% of Facebook users are users in the Arab region at least, are between the ages of 15 and 29, which is sort of on par with the global averages. When it comes to women, however, it's a slightly different case because only about 1/3 of users in the Arab world, of Facebook users, are women, which is in kind of great contrast to the global average of 60%. So that's actually what we're looking into in the report.